So if I was really spiritual, I would have healed myself of cancer and not taken chemo, right? Come on, I know you're thinking it. I mean, that's kind of our spiritual ideal these days, to get cancer and cure yourself. That's not spiritual. There are so many, where everything is so interconnected that you can't take just a little platitude like that and apply it to all parts of life. First of all, we're not separate. So when I got cancer, it wasn't just about me. I have family. They all jumped in to help, taking me to doctors and things like that. And if I would have tried to cure myself naturally of cancer, I would have had to put my family through this grueling, horrible experience of dealing with me. But I'm not separate from them. Their choices and desires for me are as important to me as my own. I mean, especially, since it's just completely, totally not proven. And even if I just want to look at it in my own life, I know too many people who have died of cancer trying to cure themselves. So, I wouldn't put my family through that. But second of all, chemo kills cancer. It's designed to do that. And so if you want to heal yourself, take the chemo, which hurts your body, but then heal yourself from the chemo. At least you're alive to be able to heal yourself from it, right? So the chemo is not going to kill you. So here's one of the really funny things that went on in my brain, is that my big fear of chemo is that it's a chemical and it's going to give me cancer, because I believe that chemicals give people cancer. So I was stuck in like this crazy loop of, what if the chemo gives me cancer? I'm like, oh, but wait, I already have cancer. Now, another way to look at it is that we are so intricately interconnected with each other and everything, and all of our ancestors and all of the wisdom that has grown throughout humanity. And chemo is a part of that wisdom. It's interesting to read the history of how doctors came up with the idea of giving people chemotherapy for cancer. It came about quite by accident, and they accidentally saved some people. And it's the same thing with radiation, right? Radiation will give us cancer. And yet, when you have cancer, they give you radiation. So is the radiation going to give me cancer, or do I already have cancer? So it's just a very valuable lesson in how our critical brains get stuck in these infinite loops of insanity where none of it makes sense. Also, we are intricately connected with everything, with the past, with the future, with what's happening now, with all the molecules of the planets, with all the animals and the birds in the sky, and all the people that are on the planet. And when you're sick, you need care. So you need to go to where you're going to get care. So that's the way I looked at the whole chemotherapy process. That here was this huge mechanism put together to give me care. And one of those cares was chemo. One of those cares was surgery. And one of those cares was radiation. And then the follow-up care that they provide. So rather than fighting the intricate nature of the whole thing, I just let myself be in a natural state of surrender and just did step after step after step after step that needed to be done. And when you live life in that way, especially, when you're in some sort of a crisis, then everything's different because everything becomes a curiosity. And also, I think, the holding yourself like this, that's got to be the number one thing that makes cancer grow. So it's like, okay, let's do this thing instead. And so I discovered some very interesting things. One is that if you're taking chemo or anything, and you just really pay attention as it happens, it's a totally different experience. Because the thing about chemo that I thought, this is my little belief, my own little fantasy, right? I create fantasies too. If you really pay attention as it's happening, it's like the strongest poison that they can possibly give you and not kill you. So it's the purest, most refined poison that can possibly exist. And so your body goes through this process of all of the fast-growing cells die. So that's all that's left is the thing that holds on to life. And so you can see how it turned into a completely different experience. It was awful also. Sick and, very low chance of survival. It's a lot to go through when the chance of survival is very, very low. But the process itself also had this thread of beauty through it. So die before you die. At least I didn't have to deal with unfounded fears. Dealing with the real fears was plenty enough. But relaxing into the process. And we can do that in our lives all the time anyway. And this is, again, one of the core teachings of Sufism, is to embrace the sorrow of life and really feel it and be it, and embrace the joy of life and allow just your natural loving nature to bubble forth from you as often as possible. And to do this with music, because music is the joy and the harmony of life. And so if we fill ourselves as much as possible with these beautiful things and bring forth this strength that lives within us. Then the naphs thin, and the veil over our consciousness thins. To be specific, though, it never thins and goes completely away. There's a point where you have to realize, I am me. I am who I am, and you have to take full mastery of your life. I was going to say control, but control is the wrong word. It's more self-mastery, where you become the master who is living within you, who is you. You are the one who is driving your vehicle of life. So we need to become this as much as possible until the point where you firmly take control of this inner mastery. And then the veil drops completely because it's unnecessary. Die before you die. The unnecessary falls from you, and life itself is there.